consistency builds compounding results. You need to get rich while you sleep, in inverted commas, until you've worked like everyone else while everyone else sleeps. To get to the passive income level of things, you need to have put in the heavy lifting of management, the heavy lifting of hiring the right people. Welcome back. And today I want us, my friends, to talk about the harsh truth of passive income, or rather the harsh truth about passive income and what really works. As you've noticed online, everyone is selling passive income dreams. Passive income this, passive income that. And when you hear certain things, you need to learn to separate the facts from the truth. My name is Witness Mdaka, and welcome to the Witness Mdaka show. And if there's anybody that needs no introduction when it comes to the conversation of passive income, is me. I started earning passive income from the time I was 18. I understand exactly what passive income is, because when I was 18, my mother built back rooms at home in Tembisa and asked me to look after the back rooms, look after the tenants, collect the rental if I want to go to university. So that specifically tells you that I understand exactly what passive income is. And can I tell you something? That from that understanding, I also understand that passive income is not as passive as people say it is. It takes a lot of heavy lifting upfront to be able to create real passive income that can be relied on to produce income for you. And let me tell you what I mean by that. For instance, I said I started collecting passive income when I was 18, right? Okay, but that passive income that I started collecting when I was 18 came as a result of my mother working several years, overpaying her house, and because she had overpaid her house, she got money through which she used that money to build back rooms at home. Now, hang on. Those back rooms as well also needed somebody to market them, needed somebody to renovate them, needed somebody to ensure that it constantly pays the municipality, collects the rental. So although it may have been phrased as passive income, it was not really money that was passive. I worked to collect the rental. I worked to follow up on the tenants, ensure that they pay on time, learning the skills of communication, learning the skills of management. So passive income, in as much as people say, put in this amount of money, you'll get this, is not really as passive as people say it is. Real passive income comes from building assets. And those assets, like I mentioned, for instance, speaks to property or property investing or building a property to rent out. And once that property is rented out, you have to look after whoever is a tenant, do maintenance on the property. All of that, right, requires constant work. So the myth of property passive income remains only that, a myth. Can the property produce money without you having to build another one? Yes. If you build a property, you build it once, but you can rent it out over and over and over again. But that's where the work is. If you have invested in a business that produces dividends, it means you're going to be paid from that business or having invested in that business. What's that? That's passive income. But it doesn't just come without you investing in the assets. Now, systems, if you build a business and in the business you've got teams and you've automated certain things within the business, you will be able to make money without you being there. But that in and of itself requires you to have the leadership capability to manage a team, to lead people, to inspire people, to motivate people to do certain things, and to be able to build and scale and grow, right? That in and of itself, my friend, means to get to the passive income level of things, you need to have put in the heavy lifting of management, the heavy lifting of hiring the right people, the heavy lifting of building systems and automating your workflow as well as your team. Now, the digital products like courses and books and licensing that allows you to keep making money. For instance, right? We once licensed the brand, it's more than just money, business and property seminar, to somebody in another country for them to organize the seminar as there's more than just money team. And all I did was to arrive and speak. That is licensing. The brand and the name already exists. They are organizing a seminar. They are charging people upfront. They are receiving the money. They're just paying us for the use of the name. And most importantly, maybe even paying me for arriving and pitching as a speaker. That is passive income. And then another thing is when you've written a book, like I've written a book, it's more than just money. I have to only write the book once for me to be able to make money from it forever. So for as long as the book is written, I will always be making money from the sale of the book. That speaks to systems that have been built from digital products. So the book could be on Amazon, Smashwords, any digital platform, Draftwords, any digital platform. Or it could be printed and resold. Printed, published, resold. What is that? That is the constant selling of a product that was, the work was put in once, but the income that comes or is derived from it is forever. So what am I telling you this for? I'm telling you this to understand that though it looks easy from the outside, the upfront heavy work of writing the book, publishing the book, creating covers, making sure the book is edited properly, speaks to the work that comes before collecting what you may deem as passive income. You know, you need to get rich while you sleep, in inverted commas, until you've worked like everyone else while everyone else sleeps. So you can't get rich while you sleep until you've worked while everybody else is sleeping, right? So meaning the time I was writing my best-selling book, everybody else most probably was sleeping. Everybody in my house was sleeping. I know that for sure because I would write the book until the early hours of the morning, which means there was a level of work that was being put in while everybody else was sleeping. Right now, the same people that might have been sleeping, they're not able to monetize the book because they did not write a book. I can monetize it whether I'm awake, whether I'm sleeping. But the work had to be put in first, right? You know, a lot of men quit too early. And they have to understand that consistency builds compounding results. I always make an example of this bookshelf behind me. And I would say, when we were setting up the office, we brought in all these books all at once into the office. Now, obviously now it creates a nice background within the office, but every book here was bought one by one, was read one by one, and having put all of them together, it's a result of compounding. One book at a time over a period of time has compounded into the full bookshelf behind me. So, meaning, with every effort that you put in into your work, into your purpose, into your meaning, there has to be a daily compounding that ultimately adds to the main thing when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to your business, when it comes to your career. It's always important, you know. Don't just buy courses, you know, build a course. Don't just read books, write books, you know, write one, you know, everything else that you think somebody else knows. There is something you know that they do not. There is something you understand that they do not understand. So the biggest question from me to you will be, when is it going to be the time where you take action and build that course, write a book, whatever it is that you can teach, when are you going to start teaching it? Passive income, my friend, is about smart positioning. You put in the work once and get paid forever. But the most important thing is the work has to be put in. You cannot earn from the work that you did not create unless you're a thief, right? You have to do some creation. Now, every day we hear words like content creator. And my focus is on the word creator. The person is creating something. And the question to you becomes, what are you creating? What are you creating that's going to compound? What are you creating that's going to one day be able to give you passive income? You want freedom, you have to build streams that flow without you. How do you build the streams of income that flow long after you are gone? It's by creating passive income streams, and you create them by first putting in the work to create the assets, to create the digital products, to create the books. That's real passive income. It's not easy, but it's worth it. You have to understand the importance of being able to do that, of being able to compound, and being able to scale. If you haven't subscribed, please click on that subscribe button, click on the notifications bell, share this video with as many people as you can. From me to you, broadcasting from Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode.